Hello, my friends. Welcome to Trending. Today is Thursday, July 20th, and thank you for joining us. We're in yet another location. We just can't make up our minds.
That's right.
Every week, the construction lane continues to shift things around. So back in the studio today. Thanks for watching or listening wherever you are. Morning, Joe.
Morning. How's it going?
Doing good.
I'm good. You got like a beard going. What's the deal?
It's just been a bit. I've had something every evening this week. I've just, just busy dad life, man. That's all this is. Busy dad life.
I wonder, you should do No Shave November. I think we want to know what kind of bodacious beard you could grow.
It probably wouldn't be good. So I feel like just a little bit of stubble is my peak position.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay. Well, beyond my grooming habits, you ready to dive into today's topic?
Let's do it, man.
This is a topic that I don't know if you and I have any business discussing this.
Okay.
But let's give it a shot.
So all the more reason to talk about it.
Yes.
Let's be yokels.
Yes. So every week we pull up Google, we pull up Twitter, we pull up a couple of news sites, some religion sites. We just try to find, what are people talking about? What can we chime in?
Right.
And one of the biggest things in the world for a couple of weeks now, people just can't stop talking about this Barbie movie.
Yeah.
I've seen it everywhere.
Everywhere.
And it comes out this week. I think today is probably when their premieres are showing in some local theaters.
Okay.
So I'm not very familiar with Barbie, like the IP of it, obviously. We haven't seen the movie. Very few people have. So it's always dangerous to talk too much about a movie that nobody's seen.
It doesn't stop a lot of people having some very strong opinions about it, though.
Yes. Because there's a couple trailers out, a lot of people are talking about it. To be honest, I hadn't watched it until this morning when we kind of talked about we might talk about this. So I watched a couple of trailers.
Right.
Man, I'll be honest, the trailers look pretty good, man.
Yeah.
It's got a very similar vibe to the Lego movie, which I really like the Lego movie.
Yeah.
So from what I can tell from the trailer, the basic plot is the Barbie characters somehow become self-realized. They know they're not real, so they try to go to the real world and they explore what the real world is like compared to their plastic Barbie world.
That's right.
And they discover some of the bad things that are in the real world that they're not used to. There's kind of a funny line in the trailer where they're all dancing, it's a party, and she just looks around at her friends and says, "Do you ever think about death?"
which always comes up, right?
Yes. So I think she's kind of slowly but surely becoming self-actualized, realizing what's real, what's not real. So it's kind of her exploration. I think it looks like it's going to be a good movie from the trailers. So
yeah.
But it's also kind of a complicated thing. People have probably a complicated relationship with Barbie. What do you think about Barbie and the cultural phenomenon that it is?
All right. Well, I'm excited that Will Ferrell is he seems to be the villain.
It looks like it might be similar to Lego Movie. Like he's also in Lego Movie. Yeah.
No, I think it'll be a great way to tell a story. And I think it's something that we have to remind ourselves when we watch a film is that it's, a story in a different medium. Mm-hmm. And those who are good storytellers, they tend to have a few different arcs or story axes in mind. Yeah. And so more than just, I liked it or didn't like it, sure, go to be entertained. But I think because we're soul people, spiritually we're soul people, we do want to say, okay, what does this thing have to teach me? Yeah. And of course, Christians vary on whether explicitly non-Christian things can teach us anything or not. Yeah. There's going to be some that are out there saying, no, go watch Song of Freedom instead, and that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. But I think some of the best storytellers and therefore some of our best teachers in our culture are those who are in the film industry. Yeah. And so I think it's just worth noting, and this is something that Don Miller, our good friend Don Miller, raving fan of Trending.
Friend of the pod, yes.
He's always here for it.
Yes.
He says, when you think about a movie, particularly one like this, it'll follow a similar plot line. You've got the main character who's got a flaw. Yeah. They tend to have to go to an alternate universe or a different location to work on that problem. They get a guide to help them along the way that helps shield them from utter disaster. Mm-hmm. Right? And all even just watching the trailer, you kind of see all that unfolding, right? Yeah. But he reminds us that there is a philosophical idea that's always kind of intertwined with it. So his famous example of this is the King's Speech. If you've ever seen the King's Speech, you know that. The main plot is there's a new king. He's got to give a speech, and he's terrified of speaking in public. He's got a speech impediment, and so it's him working on that. But that's kind of like the thing in the foreground. But the thing in the background, the philosophical, is how does this aid our discovery of the big epic of being human? Mm-hmm. And so, whatever movie you go to, if it's Oppenheimer, if it's Song of Freedom, if it's the Barbie movie, let's have our brains and our souls on and
Yeah.
say, hey, like I'm kind of open to grapple with a lesson. You don't have to agree with it.
Yeah.
Our good friend Kathy Glenn, long-term prof at Sterling College, had this great Aristotle line. I may have said it before here on Trending.
Yeah.
You might recall it to mind.
That's right.
But it's like her email signature. To paraphrase, like Aristotle said, it's like a sign of maturity if you can think about something without having to believe it, right? If you can, consider something without saying, oh, I'm going to have to believe this or reject it wholly. And so I just think in general, when we go to a film that's going to probably hold sway in our culture, we need to think, okay, what story are they trying to tell? And then what lesson is there? And what can I learn from it? Or do I need to avoid all of it? And that's fine. And if you're going to avoid all of it, boy, we don't have to be mean about it. Like, just go on with your day. And like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just relax a little bit. So I think just in general, ask ourselves the question, what's this thing trying to teach me?
Yeah.
And I think most of us, in most movies that we would watch, if we were to dare to be open, can walk away with something to consider. And so I'm eager to see what the Barbie movie is going to have me consider on the way out. So I think that's the first thing that I think about. So, and I think that's why maybe a lot of people in our culture are going to go see it.
Yeah.
Because movies aren't getting any cheaper to watch in the theater. So it's like quite the investment to go do so.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And again, I haven't seen it, and nobody has really, but again, from what I've seen from the trailer, from what I've heard from a couple of write-ups I read, it looks to be addressing the kind of on the nose, like it's very self-aware. It knows what Barbie is. It knows what the cultural view of Barbie is, and it kind of addresses that, right?
Right.
So I think it kind of talks about there's these people that appear to have these perfect, shiny lives, but here's what wrestling with authentic challenges looks like. And that's kind of that's what it looks like from the outside, what the movie's addressing. And that's kind of been the downside to Barbie all these years, I think, is that it is this perfect girl in this perfect world. It's not really, and again, they're toys. We don't want to harp on it too much. They're toys.
Right.
But there's kind of this narrative that it's giving kids an unrealistic view of themselves, of the world.
Yeah.
That's true for pretty much a lot of the kids shows, kids toys. They're all kind of that way.
Right.
Is that a problem, do you think, or what do we need to be thinking about that as if we go see this movie?
I mean, just something to consider is so we're trying to figure out how do we wrestle with the world within. That's part of being human is there's just so much of a mystery of who we are and how do we emerge into the people that we emerge into. Like, what are all the sources and what's all in play? Yeah. And I think oftentimes what like a sociologist like Andy Crouch says, we got to look at the artifacts that we make.
Yeah.
And he even says that, like in culture making, as Christians, the things that we're making really does project and reveal what we think about us and the world and so on and so forth. So he has a really good book called Culture Making that talks a lot about this.
Yeah.
And I think that what a philosopher would say too is, yes, we make toys, but toys can make us too. Mm-hmm. Now, you've got kids, I've got kids, and a lot of our kids' initial impressions of the world and how they begin to work out the mystery within, it does come out in play. I mean, that play therapy dynamic is so powerful for kids who are working through trauma and stuff. It's a really helpful tool because something quite natural and authentic comes out when we play. Like our defenses are down and it begins to reveal itself. And I think dolls are a place where this has been something that we've seen. There's a famous doll study that happened in the 1940s. A psychologist, he just basically had 4 dolls. They looked identical. The only thing that was different than them was their skin color. Yeah. And he brought kids into a room and he asked them a series of questions. And what his study concluded, and of course people defended the study and they refute the study. Okay, I'm not saying like it is that it's faultless, but it was used in the court case of Brown versus Board of Education. Wow. It was a critical piece of evidence scientifically about some systemic changes that we made because of that court case. But he said across the board, when it came to kids of color, that they often would see, when they asked the question, which one of these dolls is beautiful, they would pick the white doll instead of the doll that matched their skin. And he said it was the most surprising thing is that whenever he asked black children to pick the doll that looked like them, their response was stunning. Mm-hmm. It revealed that they saw themselves as natively inferior. to people with other skin color. And it was a profound thing. And he saw it again and again, no matter if he was in Arkansas or if he was in a place like Massachusetts, it seemed to be across the board, where as early as we can imagine, black children in that time, they felt like they were second-class citizens. And so there's a sense where like dolls do project and they also do shape us. And so it's going to be interesting to see with that in mind what the Barbie movie does, because if we watch the trailer, they build this movie as if you hate Barbies, this is a movie for you. So like this is not just for Barbie fans. This is for those who can't stand them.
Yeah.
There's still a message that they want to tell to that type of audience too.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it all rolls out.
And like I said, if the trailers are any indication, I think it's going to address that kind of thing. Like I think they're aware of, Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are very beautiful people. Yeah. They kind of fit that mold, but I think they're fighting. I think part of the plot of the movie is them fighting against that, right? Yeah. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. I think it's good for us too. Whatever, any movie we watch, any show we watch, what can we learn? What can we grasp? What kind of lessons can we take from it? And again, I think sometimes if we're like intellectual people, we overdo it sometimes. So I think it's okay to watch a movie just for fun. This is going to be a fun movie, and it's going to be okay just to watch it for fun. Yeah. And I think it's smart to see what we can learn from cultural artifacts like this.
I think it's a good way to harmonize that. And so sometimes, it's just me, and maybe I'm just difficult. I just admit that. But like I believe that we don't stand in the same river twice. Everything is shaping us. And so although, yes, I'm entertained by X, Y, and Z, and I feel like it's barely like maybe impacting me, I think everything shapes us.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm just saying we don't turn our brains off just to be entertained. I think whenever we do feel like, I watched that movie and there was no agenda that triggered me, it might be because that movie is really like you looking into a mirror what you do value. Like you actually found it. Like the thing that you value the most is in a movie, and so that still reveals something very subtly. So anyways.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah. And again, we haven't seen if you see Barbie this weekend, let us know what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys, as always. Or whatever other movie you watch this weekend. I think I'm finally going to go see the new Spider-Verse movie, I'm a big Spider-Man guy. I haven't seen the latest Spider-Man movie. It's killing me. So hopefully this weekend I can go see what messages or what lessons I can learn from Spider-Man.
Have you been have you been plugging your ears anytime anybody talks about it?
I haven't heard much buzz about it, so I'm going in pretty blind. So I'll let you know next week what I can find.
All right, man. That sounds awesome.
Okay, well, thanks again to you for watching. I think we might maybe take a week off next week. You're traveling next week, so maybe we'll be off next week, but look for us the week after that. Hope you can join us on Sunday, and if not, we'll see you next time here on Trending.
Yeah, man. See you next time.
Okay, have a good weekend, everybody.
Cheers.